what's up, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of Dev and the Bear.
Sorry.
We're just watching some fights and we're chilling. Today, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to get into the upcoming UFC card, but first, we're going to sit and talk about Jon Jones. Jon Jones pulling some slick moves this weekend on some cops and his fiance.
They weren't very slick. I think they're very brute and very head force trauma type moves.
So at within 12 hours after he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, his fight against Gustafsson was, he ends up getting arrested for domestic violence and
assault and battery,
and then he damaged a car. And the fines for that were pretty high. Now that we have more details, we know that we don't know exactly what happened between him and his fiance, but what we do know is that the cops were called and she had a bloody nose and a messed up lip, and the kids were saying to call the cops, like everybody needs to call the cops. And whenever Jon Jones was arrested, he was drunk and he headbutted the hood of a police car and dented it
and chipped the paint. You know how fucking hard you have to hit that thing to do that?
With your head.
Yeah, with your head. Like, I mean, that's pretty punk rock, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was really cool, John. Do it again.
I think it's fucking, it's kind of fucked up is like he headbutts this car and then he's like, hey, that's a felony. After he just literally threw his fucking forehead into a car. And I'm like, man, I don't know. It's just, but I think the more of the story is what he did to his fiance, though. He's been with his fiance.
Absolutely. Yeah, in front of his children.
In front of his kids. Like, and whenever they asked the fiance, apparently she had blood on her face and on like a bruised lip, like a swollen lip.
Yeah.
And she's bleeding from her lip. And what else happened? And she had blood on her sweater whenever they had asked her about it. What originally started it was also before right after the kids said called for security, they had asked she asked the concierge for an extra key, and he had asked if everything was okay, and she seemed like she said she was too scared to go back to the room.
Yeah.
And so Jon Jones said all he did was just pull her hair, and I doubt that it was just that. Apparently, like people were saying that he more than likely probably put his hands on her, and it's just a big mess. But you know, I mean, with Jon Jones, it seemed like he was finally getting his shit together, and then this happens. And I've actually watched some people talk about saying, I think if anything, like this is gonna help like him out. It's as a more of on the entertainment side, because people are gonna want to see him either lose, but they're gonna be like, regardless of how Jon Jones acts outside the ring, it's outside the ring, in the ring, he's still one of the greatest fighters of all time. And so, like, when I heard this guy point that out, this guy's name is Look At My Opinion. He's on YouTube. I like his content. He's not very biased. He's pretty straightforward. And he points that out. So he goes to the DC and RC show where they ask Ryan Clark what his opinions are on that. And Ryan Clark was like, well, I mean, inside the ring, though, he's still one of the greatest of all time. And it's like, this isn't what we're here to talk about, though.
Yeah.
You know, This is more of like him just being a really shitty human being.
Yeah. And my opinion of that is he doesn't deserve to fight, at least for a major promotion, ever again.
Yeah.
It's just too many times, and this is definitely something that's it is very serious. I know, you know, we were kind of making jokes about it a second ago, but this is very serious.
Yeah.
That's assault, and it's an assault on your fiance, just any woman in general.
Yeah.
Any person in general.
Yeah, whenever you're a professional fighter at that stature that he has, when you're as good as he is, you first off, you never put your hands on a woman, and then second, and whenever you're a trained professional, like you're a walking weapon, you don't do that, you know?
You shouldn't do it at all. But him having done it, and after everything else he's already freaking done, it's it's just unacceptable.
Yeah.
You can't keep that guy on your roster. That's my opinion. I know some people might disagree.
Oh,
I
people will,
I
but
just don't see why you get to have that guy on your roster. Just drop him. That's not something anyone should want to deal with.
yeah,
Again, he doesn't deserve to have a job as far as
no.
a major promotion. Should he never fight again? I don't really care. If it's something that's out of the public eye, I don't think he deserves to be treated like a great fighter anymore.
No. I mean, what happens behind closed doors isn't anybody's business, but whenever it's so like out there with everything that he's done, it's just been under a microscope, especially after his first DUI.
Yeah.
Then the hit and run happens. I actually went back because I remember like talking about it with you a little bit, and I went back and watched his Joe Rogan episode he did. He was on the podcast, and he talks about the whole incident with the hit and run, and the only reason why I came back was because he left weed in his car.
Yeah.
Like he straight up ditched the car, and then he talks about the accident. He's like, I didn't know the lady was pregnant. He's like, but if like something would happen, like if a miscarriage would happen, like they would have blamed me for it or something. I'm like, well, yeah, because you fucking hit her.
Yeah.
And then after that, he said, I'm just happy that nothing was serious happening, and I didn't have to go to jail for it. And just really showed like no remorse for what he did at all. He was more worried about having to go to jail for what he did, which I get. Jail, not everybody wants to go to fucking jail, but jail sucks. But to show no remorse and say like, I'm just happy that that the lady, that the baby, nothing happened to the baby, and it just shows that he's just, I don't know, man. It's just people consider him the GOAT. I don't consider this guy the GOAT, and it's not even about what he's like done before, but I just don't like. I think that there's other fighters. Like finally, he's not number one in the pound for pound.
Yeah.
It's Kamaru
And that
Usman
happened
now.
before this, right?
That just happened. Happened like 2 a.m. this morning. News
that
broke.
was today.
Yeah,
That
that was
happened?
today. On
Okay.
what's the date today? 27th. Yeah, 29th.
29th.
Fuck, I'm behind. Yeah, on the 29th, what's it called? They finally changed Kamaru Usman to the number one pound for pound ranked, in which he should have been a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, man, when is this shit gonna stop? And they asked Dana White about it, and Dana White was like, I'm gonna wait to see what we do with him after he figures out his legal issues. And it's like, we have a lot of things pointing at him that he just beat a woman up. I mean, you fired people over less that you never let in the organization.
Yeah.
And it's just a bad look if he keeps him around. I don't care if he fights in the UFC again. I know that's I'm kind of shooting from the hip. It's more of a hot take how I feel about this whole situation, but it's the same thing, man. Like,
I wouldn't even say it's a hot take, though.
Yeah.
It's something that isn't a new story we've heard from John Jones, but ultimately the issue is he just keeps breaking the law.
Yeah.
He keeps being drunk and disorderly. He keeps getting involved with domestic violence cases.
Yeah, this isn't the first time either.
That's what I'm saying. This isn't new territory for him. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's a hot take. I think it's something that everybody's kind of thought of for a while.
He beat that stripper up
Yeah.
in fucking Albuquerque and shit. Like, he was kissing her. She told him to stop. He put her in a chokehold. All this types of shit. Like, it's not like it's not happened before. Like, this guy has consistently done really, really shitty things. And, it's like, if we're going to talk about, like, well, I mean, look at the fighter. I mean, he's not that bad. It's like looking at Chris Benoit saying, oh, he was a great wrestler, and ignoring what he did to his family. Like, that dude legit fucking killed his family with his bare hands. Like, there's a reason why Chris Benoit's not talked
Rated
about.
R.
Yeah, it's just the fucking, I don't know, the Rabid Wolverine, dude. And it's pretty, I don't know, it's just pretty disgusting, like, see how that went down. Like, we've seen it happen with other stars who have done bad things and they come back. Like, we've seen, like, what happened with Mike Tyson back in the 90s with his case. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, like with his case while he went to prison for. We've seen, Adrian Peterson, football player, he spanks a kid and then gets in a bunch of trouble. But there was a lot more with the Adrian Peterson thing.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, but with him though, it's like how many times does this have to happen?
And it's the same thing with Connor. How many times do we have to see Connor do something illegal or inappropriate?
Yeah.
For like this recent thing he had with MGK, like, oh, here we go again, Connor throwing a fit.
Crazy Connor.
Yeah, he's back. It's how far do you go until you make a decision? I think Dana White shouldn't be afraid of going, you know what? no, we're done.
Yeah.
I don't care how this ends up. This isn't something that we put up with here. We're done here.
Well, it's like I talked to somebody about the McGregor thing, and they're like, like Dustin was more mad saying that he was gonna kill him than what he's saying about his wife. Like people are gonna say that it's a fight. And I'm like, I get that. I get where your point is, but the thing is though is you're not talking about what Connor said. You're just talking about you're talking about the situation from the outside.
Yeah.
Look at the inside. Connor literally said, like, I'm gonna kill you and your wife and y'all sleep, and pointed a gun at them. Then posted a picture of their daughter.
Yeah.
But no one wants to listen to that. Anytime I ever have the rebuttal with that, it gets ignored. I'm like, exactly, because you want to ignore that.
People want to let Connor be Connor. Oh well, that's what he does. Yeah. Hitler went around killing Jews. It's just Hitler. It's just a crazy boy Hitler.
Crazy Adolf at it again. But yeah, no, the whole John Jones situation, dude. Like, I don't think. I think he should be kicked out of the UFC for it. It's ridiculous. I mean, look at what happened with fucking Thiago Silva.
Thiago Silva, man, that was one of my favorite fighters. And yeah, he just had a few instances where, he pulled a gun on someone.
Oh no!
And he's turned his life around, and I'm very happy for him.
He got sober,
but he's never allowed to in the UFC again.
Yeah.
John Jones is beating women, fighting with cops.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor is throwing little dollies at other fighters,
punching old people.
Yeah, and yet we're okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a where does the
Thiago Silva at least never hurt anybody.
Yeah,
it was just serious threats.
Very serious threats.
Serious.
He was like
but he never hurt anybody.
He was on a standoff with the SWAT team. It's just fucking dude, Thiago Silva, that crazy motherfucker, dude. Like he looks like he would be like
a
hitman.
And I've always said this. I'd fight anybody. I really, really would. Whoever's listening, like, Zach, I don't know about you. I would fight anybody, anyone on the UFC roster or any other MMA organization roster. Yeah. Thiago Silva is the one person that I'd be kind of scared to fight.
That
dude is just scary.
Dude. You look at him; he looks like he wants to kill somebody for fun.
The look in his eyes, man, is definitely different. But yeah, anyway, you look at him versus John Jones. Thiago Silva got banned from the UFC immediately. John Jones, over and over and over again, has been in trouble with the law.
Yeah.
And it isn't just like, he got drunk and partied a bit too much and got in a tussle at a club. He's beating women. He's getting into car accidents, running from it, caught with marijuana. Like, there's all kinds of things going on in it. Whenever he was on coke. In the fights with Daniel Cormier, it just gets to a point he needs to be banned from the UFC.
I was actually looking into that last night because I started to think what is this guy's history since everything started with his DWI back in like 2011, I believe, or it's like right after he won the world champ. Yeah, I think it was like 2011. But whenever he at UFC, he's actually failed 4 drug tests in the UFC, and one of those drug tests, the first one he failed was in the UFC 182, and when he failed at UFC 182. WADA, who was the original people who used to do the drug tests, what he failed for, because his testosterone levels were like extremely low, and people who have done steroids were like, that's usually means they're on something if his testosterone levels are low naturally. And so they found it in a system. I don't remember the name of it, but what they found in a system, it wasn't WADA banned, and so they still let him fight. And so, I mean, just think about that too. Like before they had stricter drug testing. I mean, it's just, I can't consider somebody like that the GOAT who's been caught up. But I mean, to see another thing too, though, is like that's been on my mind is when you're a professional fighter, like, and you're going out and you're just fighting these random people and you're fighting women and stuff like that. Like I don't like, or like I had a friend of mine tell me, oh well, this guy, dude, he does boxing. Yeah, he got into a fight over on Main Street, knocked this dude out with like 3 left hands. He's a southpaw. He knocked that dude out. I'm like, that's pretty fucking shitty, honestly. Yeah. For me, it's like okay, like if you train, that's cool, dude. But you're literally training to go out and hurt people. It's like you sound like you need to be put in your fucking place. You shouldn't be going out and fighting fucking people on the street.
Yeah, I personally don't think it matters if you're a trained fighter or not. If you go out and do something like that, you're a scumbag. It's about morals and not about skill or level of how badly you could hurt someone.
Yeah.
If you're willing to do that to someone, drunk or not, you're a piece of trash.
Yeah, no, you just.
Am I calling John Jones a piece of trash?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. Just with that whole situation with that dude was telling me about, like the guy this dude that he knew like trains like very heavily in boxing and MMA, and got some middle-aged men started talking shit to him, and they started fighting, and they fucking threw down. The guy knocked him out in like 20 seconds. Like fucking the dude like just fell like back like head first onto the fucking pavement. And then I was like, that's nothing to brag about, dude.
Yeah.
It's really actually pretty shitty that this dude goes out like couldn't just walk away. It's like if you train that hard, you should know discipline. You should know when to walk away. Like, what if you would have knocked that dude out cold, his head smacked on the pavement, you would have put him in a coma? You think you're fucking
Murder.
tough now? You know, it's like that's even if he doesn't die, that's attempted manslaughter. But with John Jones, it's like you're a professional and you're one of the best athletes in the world. We all know that. So it's like, what the fuck, man? And like, what's his name even? Like when we were talking about that podcast episode, like Joe Rogan was telling us, like, I know people who thought they didn't have a problem with alcohol, because that's what John Jones was saying. Is I never really had an issue with alcohol. He's like, but they'll say, you know what, man, just one shot, one beer. He's like, and it just spirals down from there. And that's the same exact situation that John Jones has been in. And to where the point is, it's like, hey, you just need to fucking stop drinking. Like, you just need to leave it the fuck alone, you know?
Yeah. We'll see whatever happens as far as the legal outcome of this. Again, I think UFC should kick him out. I think he should be done in the UFC. I don't think Bellator should take him. I don't think one should take him. I don't think any of the major organizations should take him.
Yeah.
I think states should even be like, no, we're not going to give that guy a license to fight here.
Yeah.
And I know I don't know him personally, but this isn't how you get someone to want to know you personally.
Yeah.
So I don't think it really matters. I think what matters is he's breaking the law consistently, and he's doing horrible things. He's not just, doing something very minor. He's hurting people now. He's hurting the mother of his children in front of their children. So I think he should be kicked out.
And I've seen, like, he used to have his fiance on, like, the countdown and stuff like that. Like, she's a little woman. She's very small. She's probably, like, my size. And so he's, like, 6'4", 250. And it's just, like, what makes you feel so good about beating that woman up,
Yeah.
Piece of shit. So
let us know your thoughts on the John Jones debacle and the spiral of his career. Where do you think he should end up? What do you think should happen with him? Do you think he should ever fight again? But other than that, lots of fantastic matchups.
There's been some fucking bangers made, bro. More bangers than you find on the hub. Bangers. There's been some good shit that's been made, and I'm so excited for these fights.
One that'll be our personal favorite, Derek Lewis.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Derek Lewis and Alexei Olenek. Not Alexei Olenek.
Chris Daukaus.
I don't know.
What the fuck?
Alexei Olenek's got a matchup, man. Leave me alone.
He does have a matchup.
Chris Daukaus and Derek Lewis. I think it's a really good time for that matchup.
Yeah.
You got Derek Lewis, who, is going down because he just lost.
Yeah.
And Daukaus is making himself a known contender with his win the other day. So I think that's a great matchup. It's going to be definitely a heavyweight brawl, because Chris Daukaus pushes forward and he throws hard.
Yeah.
And Derek Lewis is going to do his thing. He's going to throw down and wait for that right hand.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing about, like, it's funny because Derek Lewis always says all he just needs is one, but with somebody like Chris Daukaus moves fucking well for heavyweight. Yeah. He's a big boy too. He does not move slow at all, and I think that's something that I don't know. I consistently get shit whenever I speak honestly about these matchups outside of the podcast, because I don't just automatically just dick ride. So I don't know. Like with this matchup though, like Chris Daukaus is fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
He is. I enjoy watching him fight. He just had a great win against what's that guy's name? Shamil. I don't know what the fuck his name is. He got dropped though.
Yeah.
That's all that matters is Chris Daukaus won, and so he's just, I don't know, like it's just an all around fun fight. But I really think Chris Daukaus takes it though. Like I do. Like I think Chris Daukaus takes that fight, but I'm always happy to see Derek Lewis win. But I don't know. I'm probably speaking too soon as well. But it's a great fight. It's a huge jump in competition as well for Chris Daukaus.
Yeah, it's a huge jump for sure. I think him and Tom Aspinall, I think we both think that they are the next two like future stars of the heavyweight division. Yeah. So if he wins this fight, they're definitely on course to meet one day.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't get annihilated on the way there.
Yeah, they have a very
'Cause
tough road ahead of them.
That would slow that down real quick.
Like, I expect Tom Aspinall having a big fight coming up soon as well. I would expect that, just because if they're giving it to Chris Dawkins, they're probably going to give one to
Yeah,
Tom
well,
Aspinall.
Tom Aspinall is closer to top 5 now, isn't he?
Yeah, both of them have already broken the top 10.
Yeah. So that's definitely exciting. Speaking of Dawkins, you got Kyle Dawkins, the brother, who's in middleweight fighting Kevin Holland. That's going to be a pretty good one, I think.
It's a Saturday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to get into that later.
Yeah.
Other matchups, Alexei Olenek.
Oh, yeah. Alexei Olenek taking on Greg Hardy. What's called? That's going to be...
Speaking of men who beat women.
Yeah. Speaking of women beaters. So, yeah, I think Greg Hardy takes... I mean, shit. What the fuck? Why am I making predictions already? I need to shut up and just talk about how good these fights are. I think that's going to be a good fight. If Greg Hardy seriously needs a fucking win, though, if he wants to stay in the UFC with that fight, you know. And he's going against a guy who is super good on the ground and shown a lot more durability than he has in the past with his fight against Sergey Spivak. He looked really good in that fight. It was just a good dog fight. But that's a really fun fight to make as well.
Yeah.
And so the bantamweight division is getting shooken up as well. I think we talked a little bit about the Petorian and Aljamain fight being called off. The doctors wouldn't clear Aljamain, and everyone's giving Aljamain shit, but
well, he deserves it.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
But
it's not his fault, but he still deserves it.
Yeah. He just needs to shut up and just say, like, stop trying to defend why he pulled out. Just be like, the doctors wouldn't clear me. Like, it's that simple. And so now we have Petorian taking on Corey Sandhagen for the interim bantamweight title. That's a big deal. I love that fight. I'm a big fan of both those guys.
I do think it's a little crazy that Sandhagen's getting it as opposed to Dillashaw's.
But
I was going to say, but he's injured, right?
He just got surgery. He tore his meniscus in that fight. Yeah. So he's not getting it. In another matchup in the bantamweight division, we have Rob Font taking on Jose Aldo. Or Jose Aldo. And,
Yeah, that one's going to be exciting. I don't see Jose Aldo winning that, but I think it should still be exciting.
It's gonna be an all around fun fight. That one's gonna be set for, I think, December 4th, and you have Rob Font's boxing versus fucking crackhead, versus Aldo.
Why is he crackhead?
He moves so fast, dude. Have you seen that shit? The way how quick he is. He shows great head movement. He shows his kicks too. Is Rob Font going to be ready for a kick-heavy fighter? We haven't seen him go against a very kick-heavy fighter before. And not just that, he's going against one of the best featherweight champions to ever do it, who's having a really good run at bantamweight. You know, his only loss at bantamweight is to... Well, I don't consider his loss to Marlon Race a actual loss. I thought he clearly won that fight.
Yeah.
But his one stoppage loss is by Petorian, who's arguably the bantamweight champion. You know.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that matchup. I don't expect it to ever go to the ground. I don't expect there to ever be any stalling in any cage work up against the cage. I don't see that happening. I see this fight. I could see Rob Font moving back, though. I could see him being pretty respectful of Jose Aldo's power, but him being the aggressor while moving back is what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
Another matchup, Derek Brunson, Jared Cannonier. Very excited for that one. I don't know if we've talked about that one on here yet, but that one I think is kind of a game changer for middleweight.
Yeah, that's definitely. I feel like whoever wins that fight is going to be waiting in line for the next title shot for with the Whitaker Adesanya 2 fight. So that's a very fun fight, and I feel like that fight makes a bunch of sense for both those guys with where they stand in the division and where they stand with their careers.
For sure. I think right now the Font and Aldo fight is in talks to happen. And right now there's just a lot of fights that got announced that were just in talks to happen, but there's a lot that have been added to cards so that we know for sure we're going to see them. And one of those, Raquel Pennington and Julia Avila, is going to be a pretty solid fight, I think. I I think this is going to be one where Pennington has a bit more than she expects. I think she has those fights every now and then, and those usually make for good fights.
Sean O'Malley, I didn't know this, tweeted out 2 days ago whenever Aljamain fell out. He said, give me that fight. Well, how about you just go, you make the same money fighting bums, so go back to fighting bums.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't get to be in that conversation. You didn't want it.
Yeah, you fucked up. I don't get people that support his mindset with that at all. I really don't. Like, I really don't see why people think, like, oh, well, Sean O'Malley has a point. Stop listening to Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen knows what the fuck he's talking about. He just, I don't know, dude. Like, I get what you're saying is, like, why should I fight the best fighters in the world for not that much money if I'm making the same money either way? When it's like, how do you expect to move up in the division?
Yeah, because you're trying to be the best fighter in the world. That's why you fight them.
What makes you think you're entitled to more money just because you're Sean O'Malley, just because you have a big name? Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. Like, when people talk about his last fight against Matinho, like, you know, it's like, okay, you fought a guy who came straight off the regional circuit. That guy was not ready for the UFC.
That's Chris Patino, the zombie.
That's the GOAT.
Green
like,
zombie.
I don't mean to disrespect him like that, but he's fucking...
Nah,
he pulled out of his fight.
Matinho?
Yeah. He pulled out. That sucks. But yeah, no, I really don't get the whole mindset behind that.
Yeah, because what it ends up doing is you don't get to negotiate for a higher contract next time you sign. If they even sign you, because you've already publicly stated that you don't care to take the good fights. You just want to make money either way. So you're going to make money either way, so why not just take the easy fight?
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't move you up. So if you have no interest in moving up, you know, maybe they won't sign you. Who knows? I'm sure that they will. But.
Yeah. Oh, Zabit's back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Zabit is fully recovered, which I'm very happy to hear that.
Dagestani Lincoln.
We needed him. I think the featherweight division really needed somebody else.
Yeah, and with him being back, that's for sure a big name that's back.
Yeah, Henry Cejudo's out here calling out Alexander Volkanovski still. Like, and the thing I don't really get about that is Dana White's not gonna go chasing you, buddy. Like, you weren't really selling shit, to be honest with you. You didn't really bring fighters in. I understand the whole King of Cringe thing, but I think that only worked for MMA fans. It didn't work for anybody else. It
didn't even work for MMA
I don't
fans.
think it did either. Like,
nobody liked that.
No, it was stupid, and I don't think it gets you paid that well. I think you just think you have great management. You know,
it's like that Colby Covington stuff.
Yeah, have you seen our boy got some fresh ink? Have you seen it?
Tyron Woodley?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he got the I love Jake Paul tattoo on the inside of his middle finger.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, you're like 40. You should really stop and really reevaluate what you're doing now.
Yeah, it's a cool social media call out, by the way. T Wood.
Fucking jackass.
You do that on Facebook?
Yeah, no, I would have. I don't know. I don't get it. Let it go. He's not gonna rematch you because he knows you're probably gonna win. I don't know, man. You just gotta let that shit fucking go at some point, you know?
Yeah. If it happens, it's going to happen again. They have the whole clause about it, but it happening again.
Jake Paul has the clause. Tyron Woodley didn't ask for a rematch clause.
Well, it's going to happen, though, because they want the money, I'm sure. Jake Paul's going on. He called out Tommy Fury, which, who cares? I don't know. That whole thing is just still so stupid to me. If I'm Tyron Woodley, though, I chase it because that's a lot of money. Set you and your mom up, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, at some point, though, it comes off that you're starting to beg for it and just let it go, dude. I don't know. Like, getting serious talks. Pull up on them. Fuck it. You're from the streets, you know?
Can't pull up on people. We just spent 20 minutes talking about John Jones.
Yeah, but John Jones ain't from the streets. He ain't from Ferguson.
He's from Brooklyn.
Who's that? John Jones? Yeah, that's a pastor, bro. I don't want to fucking hear it. He's a church boy. Church boy gone wrong, just like all of them, you know?
Not Holly Holm.
Not Holly Holm. No, she's a saint. What's
she hangs
that?
out with John Jones.
Get the fuck away from him. Uriah Hall said he used to party with John Jones. He said,
he said he was too much.
Yeah. And I'm like, I fucking bet.
He's like, yeah, John used to party the night before a fight. And I'm like, hey, man, no.
No. I don't know. Fucking loser. Fucking. And Conor McGregor's talking shit to Volkanovski as well. And I'm like, yeah, go try to bully that division again. I bet you that doesn't go the same way.
No, it doesn't. Someone was saying, oh, well, we don't act like for a second that prime featherweight McGregor couldn't handle Volkanovski.
I'm sure
It's
he could.
I'm sure it could, but we'll never know. So I'm not going to sit here and dwell on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's
What we have right now is a McGregor who can't beat anybody.
Yeah, we can't go back in time and
against
get
a guy
McGregor.
who can't lose. Even when he loses the fight, the judges are like, "Nah, he won."
We can't get cornrow McGregor.
Yeah.
We get fucking I don't know.
Bald head.
We get crazy Conor McGregor now. And so you didn't see the Oscar De La Hoya stuff that I was talking about?
No, I didn't.
So he started telling fucking Volkanovski on Twitter he's underpaid and he can't stop talking about it apparently. And Dana White called him a crackhead, and they started talking about it. They asked Dana White about it after the Tuesday Night Contender Series fights. And they had asked Dana White, what's your opinion on that stuff? He's like, honestly, man, if I was De La Hoya with some of the shit that he's got caught doing, he's like, I would go hide on a fucking island somewhere. I would not show my face in public. He's like, but he has no room to talk about me not paying my fighters. He's like, if I don't pay my fighters that well, he's like, they're more than happy. They're more than welcome to say their numbers out loud. He was like, look at the last Golden Boy Promotions fight. He's like, the total salary he puts it all together was $36,000. This is public record. He was like, $36,000. He's like, that means every fighter on that card it was $32,000. Excuse me. And so there were 16 fighters on that card. He said that means every fighter got paid $2,000 to be on the Golden Boy Promotions card.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that's why Canelo Alvarez left him. He doesn't pay his fucking fighters. He's like, Ryan Garcia probably won't be there that much longer, and he better hold on to that motherfucker as much as he hopes. He's like, because that dude could easily go anywhere else. That kid has talent. He's so good. He's like, but don't waste your time with a fucking guy like Oscar De La Hoya. And he did explain why the UFC only pays a small percentage. He's like, I have a bunch of employees that I pay out of all of our revenue. It's not like we're keeping all the money, but we don't know how much of that is true as well, though. So they had straight up asked him how much of a percentage is going to fighters, and he's like, that's none of your business. He's like, that's my business.
Yeah, I was gonna say when he's asked pretty bluntly about it, he
shuts it down.
Gets a little shy.
Yeah, he shuts it down very, very fast. And
I don't want to talk about my numbers. But let's talk about freaking what's his name's numbers. I'm blanking on his name already.
De La Hoya.
De La Hoya. There you go.
Who gives a fuck? Yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Watch how fast Brock Lesnar transition. I'll never get over that. Again, we're watching fights, so right now we're at the main event of UFC 116, which is Shane Carwin and Brock Lesnar, and just it always amazes me how fast Brock Lesnar transitioned when he was fighting.
Dude, there's no bullshit. He moves like
Couture.
A welterweight.
It's crazy. It looks like you're watching sped up footage.
Yeah.
It's freaking nuts. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's just wild. But anyway.
Absolute monster. Fucking unit.
This main event for the upcoming card is one that really I'm excited for. It's Johnny Walker and Thiago Santos. What do you think about that?
I'm actually really excited for that fight. I think for Johnny Walker, that's a great fight because he kind of needs it. He had a lot of hype, and then he lost to Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson just showed him that there are levels to this, and Johnny Walker wasn't on that level. Little callback there, and I don't know. I'm pretty excited for that fight just because. Then you have Johnny Walker is always in exciting fights. Then you have Thiago Santos, who's also just very he needs a win. Like he seriously needs a win. If he's gonna prove that he's an elite fighter, and so far we haven't seen that since he's came back from his double knee surgery. He had to relearn how to walk again. He just hasn't really been the same. And so I don't really know what's going to happen. Johnny Walker, this win does a lot for him. Thiago Santos shows that he still has that killer instinct that we all see in him since he moved to light heavyweight. And it's just going to be a fun fight, though. I think this whole card's great. Like, I think if you don't watch the fight nights, this is a fight night to watch. Because, I mean...
It's free.
It's free if you have ESPN Plus. Or even, fuck that, if you stream it, go look it up. It's a fun fight. The co-main event fight you just mentioned... Kevin Holland making his comeback, taking on Kyle Dawkins.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
I could see it going to the ground quite a bit. And if it does, Holland's not... I don't think this one will just be a ground-out decision.
Yeah.
I think this one could be a finish. And it could be a finish anywhere it goes. On the feet, obviously Kevin Holland's more than capable, but so is Kyle Dawkins. And if it goes to the ground, Kyle Dawkins is no stranger there as well. So I could see this fight getting finished anywhere it goes.
Yeah, and so it's just I think Kevin Holland takes it. I think he's coming in with a lot more to prove. I like Kyle Dawkins. Both the Dawkins brothers are great fighters, but I think Kevin Holland has a lot to prove coming into this fight, and I think he's able to do so. He's worked on himself a lot. He's worked on his wrestling. I know people were talking a bunch of shit saying that he was losing to high school wrestlers. Well, those guys, they've done that since they were kids. The same exact way that Kevin Holland's at. Kevin Holland is not a wrestler. Obviously, that's why I got taken down so much. But it is what it is. I think Kevin Holland's going to come in and prove a point and prove that he is the top 10. He's a top 10 fighter that everyone was hoping he would be, because he has a lot of hype to live up to still. I think a lot of people are writing him off now. They don't want to fuck with him. They don't want to do anything with him, and so
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
look at that. That's cool. That's actually really cool. I forgot he's a big UFC fan.
Yeah, I actually have Kyle Dawkins, though, in this fight, because I think even if Kevin Holland has trained his wrestling a good bit,
Yeah.
I still see it going to the ground. I still see Kyle Dawkins eventually getting the takedown.
Yeah.
I could even see Kevin Holland going in there, and I'm not trying to call him a fool or anything, but foolishly going for a takedown just to make a point. And then it's like, you've done all this wrestling training, great. Don't forget about jiu-jitsu, and that's where Kyle Dawkins is going to, I think, get the win, is by submission.
Yeah. Well, the thing that we've seen out of Kyle Dawkins, though, is that when he's faced adversity, he gasses out. So I think it's going to be another question, is how is his gassing going to be coming in? Kevin Holland doesn't really slow down. He showed a pretty good gas tank even whenever he's losing.
Yeah,
You know?
whenever it gets back to the feet, it's always pretty fresh for him.
Yeah.
When it gets back to the feet.
Yeah.
When he's on his back, though, we didn't get
And
to
we've
see
seen
very
10
much.
rounds of him on his back so
Yeah.
far. So, he has a lot to go on there and fucking prove. So, another good fight that I think is definitely going to be fight night is Cowboy Oliveira taking on Nico Price. And I want to see Nico Price snatch his soul.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. I want to see some crazy shit.
Nico Price needs it after his loss to Michel Pereira. I think he
in a fight that I thought he should have won.
Yeah, it was definitely a close one.
Yeah.
But I think this is his time to kind of say, you know what? No, I'm gonna make sure I'm a name in this division, and not just as a wrestler who makes for decent fights. I want to be an exciting fighter, and I'm the guy. So I hope he gets a big win here. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
His work ethic is insane.
Even though Alex Oliveira is a little disrespectful, which has nothing to do with how he fights pretty well. But I mean, whenever he has a very in-your-face style, but so is Nico Price, and I think Oliveira wilts pretty quick compared to what the pressure that Nico Price can put on somebody, And so I don't know, man. I want to see some crazy shit, and I think that's exactly what we're gonna see.
Yeah.
Watch this fucking card. This is a great card. So another good fight is Misha Serkinov taking on Krzysztof Jotko.
Yotko. I am so excited for this fight.
So I think a Jocko feel, or what I'm talking about,
yeah.
the special forces guy.
From that guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Jocko Willink.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. This fight I'm really excited for. Misha Serkinov. I'm a huge fan of him. His submission game is amazing.
Really?
Yeah. That's how I see this fight happening. I see him getting it to the ground and getting a submission. But Krzysztof, man, his stand up is getting better and better. And I think that he's making his way up. He's having to learn the hard way sometimes, but he's learning, and he makes that very prominent every time he's in there. He looks better than he did before.
Misha Serkinov's a fucking unit.
I
don't think I've ever seen him fight. I've seen his name a lot, but his fights always get canceled.
Yeah.
I guess he's dropping down to middleweight. That's what it is too. He did fight. His last fight was against Ryan Spawn at 205. So he's going down middleweight. So I think he'll have a much better feel for it. So I think that's gonna be a really, really fun fight. But Krzysztof, his last fight was against Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland put a clinic on him.
Yeah. Again, every time he's gone in there, he goes in there and he learns.
Yeah.
So even if it's a loss, he's going to come back better. So with this fight, I think he's going to come back better. He's going to be a little bit more ready.
It's crazy seeing is that Brock Lesnar's trainers are either the same size or bigger than him.
Yeah. Whatever, bro. They're all on steroids.
Yes,
So,
they are.
so yeah, I definitely see this fight going Misha Serkinov's way though by submission. He's really good, and Yoko's stand up is great, and it's only getting better, especially after that fight with Sean Strickland. I think he learned a lot there, but I don't think he's had to go against someone like Misha Serkinov just yet, and so it is going to be new territory for him, but just another learning lesson, buddy.
Yep. So we got we got a pretty good women's fight. Aspen Ladd taking on Macy Kiasen. She is Macy Kiasen.
You could have said that one right. I'm not entirely sure how it's said.
I don't know how it's said either, but fucking. But I like Macy Kiasen. Macy's a good fighter. I mean, she comes in and throws down. You know,
it's pretty fun. Whenever her fights go to decision, it was a fun fight.
Yeah.
But usually I think she's getting the finish. I could be wrong, but I think most of her fights she gets the finish. Aspen Ladd's tough, though. She's as tough as they come, and she works really hard to get the win. So that fight, I think, is going to end up going Aspen Ladd's way. She's the veteran. She's, I think, going to be the aggressor. And if not the aggressor, then she's going to be crafty. She's going to make sure that the fight stays in her corner.
Yeah, and so with Aspen Ladd though, she's been gone since 2019.
Yeah,
it's been almost 2 years since she's been here, and she's coming back from a pretty bad knee injury.
And this fight was supposed to happen a couple months ago. July.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think Macy pulled out, or did Aspen pulled out?
Kiasen pulled out. Remember, we actually talked about this fight. This is why this sounded so familiar.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she, like we talked about like beforehand, Aspen Ladd, she tore her ACL and MCL. That's a serious thing to injure. That's most of the ligaments in your knee. So I think that's going to be, so we have her coming in. So hopefully this time, if anything has helped her, sometimes ring rust is a thing. And we have Aspen Ladd, who's a pretty young fighter. And she's, she only has one loss, which is to Jermaine Durandamy. Fuck that woman. But yeah, it's so Jermaine Durandamy, but it's gonna be a good throwdown though, I think.
Yeah.
So
the other fight on the main event will be Alexander Hernandez and Mike Breeden. This is kind of I think win or lose for Alexander Hernandez. He needs to win, or it's going to be a huge loss. And by that, I don't mean just for the record. I think he might lose his job after this. You never really want to be on the chopping block, but it happens. And with Alexander Hernandez, his style is sometimes fun, sometimes it's really not. So even when he gets the wins, I don't think Dana White's very impressed, but he's just had such a spotty record over his last few fights. So I think he really, really needs to start putting together a win streak. Otherwise, you're a middle-of-the-road fighter before you even got to the middle of the road.
Yeah, and we have yet to see him right now he's entering his prime. His biological prime. He's 28 years old. We've seen him come up. He's done great things, but we're kind of seeing where he's going to lie with the division. Like this, he needs his win. He's fighting a guy, I think, who's making his UFC debut, Mike Breeden. Mike Breeden has a good record, though. He's 10-3. Most of his wins are by stoppages. He has 2 knockout losses, though. Well, last loss was to a decision. But, it seems like every time Alex gets tested, he always loses.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is like he has only 4 losses in his whole career. One of them was way early to Jamal Emmers, way early in his career back in 2013. Went on to win every fight until he met Donald Cerrone, beats Francisco Trinaldo, tough opponent, beats him, fights Drew Dober, loses that fight, and that was a fucking throwdown too. But Drew Dober is super good. But the thing is, if you're not getting past guys like Drew Dober, how do you expect to make an impact on the lightweight division? Lightweight division after Drew Dober is fucking tough. It starts with Drew Dober and goes on, I don't know. They get better and better as it goes on. And then he beats Chris Grutzmacher, knocks him out cold. That was a fun fight.
That was a good one.
Then after that, he loses Thiago Moises, who just got dominated by number 5, Islam Makhachev.
Yeah. So he really needs this win to kind of start a way of making his name in the division. If he loses again, I just don't see them re-signing someone like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, but Mike Breeden, he has everything to win in this fight.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just all around tough. But some fighters also I think we should look out for on the prelims if you have time. Antonina Shevchenko is fighting. She's She's obviously Valentina Shevchenko's sister, who just fought this past Saturday.
She's got a tough test with Casey O'Neill.
Yeah, she does.
I personally don't see Antonina winning that fight.
She needs to win this fight too.
She does. Yeah.
Who else we have? We have Betch Correia actually fighting on this card. Who gives a fuck? I say Jamie Malarkey is fighting.
Yeah,
I thought
Jamie
that was super
Malarkey's
cool.
good.
Yeah, I enjoy watching Jamie Malarkey fight. He's always a good. So Australian guys get the fuck down. And he's coming off of a knockout win over Kama Worthy, which Kama is a very, very tough fighter. So, yeah, I mean, it's about all I
that'll
have
be
left to
this
say.
upcoming card. Let us know what your thoughts are. Comment, like, subscribe, follow, do all those things on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram. We got a TikTok. Start following that. Start getting ready for that. But definitely let us know your thoughts on any of the preceding social medias. Catch you next time.